Hi, I'm Jeff Probst, and I'm here to show you how to use the DigiTrak drill head monitoring system and get the highest performance out of its advanced capabilities. We're going to be covering step-by-step the procedures in calibrating, locating, and tracking your drilling operation. And here it is, the DigiTrak system. Now, DigiTrak comes with these two basic components, the transmitter and the receiver. And this is the only tracking equipment you'll need for a successful drilling operation. First, let's look at the transmitter. This is placed inside the drill head and sends out signals to the receiver so you can monitor your drilling operation. Now, at the back of the transmitter is the battery housing. And this holds two new C-cell alkaline batteries, which will last for 12 hours of operation or 50 hours of sleep, and that's when drilling is temporarily stopped. Now, the batteries that perform best are Duracell, Radio Shack, Panasonic, Energizer, and the Sears Die-Hard. Now, the plastic housing contains the transmitting electronics, and inside the front end cap there's a green light which turns on to verify that the batteries inserted in the transmitter are at full capacity. Also inside the front end cap there's a temperature sensitive white dot which disappears if the transmitter is damaged due to overheating. The operating temperature range is between 0 and 180 degrees Fahrenheit. High temperatures can result from friction on the drill head from drilling through sand or gravel, combined with losing fluid flow through the jets of the drill head. Now, here in the front end there is a key slot used for aligning the transmitter in the drill head. The transmitter fits into the drill head housing like this. Now, the transmitter provides signals to determine depth, pitch, and roll. To save on batteries, the transmitter shuts down into a sleep mode if the drill head has not been rotated for 5 minutes. However, you can restart it by rotating it 1 revolution. Now let's look at the receiver. It contains the antenna and the electronics that receives the signal from the transmitter inside the drill head. To activate the receiver, place a DigiTrak rechargeable battery pack in the battery compartment. This battery will last for 12 hours of operation and can be replaced anytime while your drilling is underway. The windows display the information you'll need to locate and track your drilling operation, which we'll explain shortly. Now, as you can see, on the bottom of the receiver there are 2 holes for the ultrasonic measurement, and these should be kept clear and unobstructed. Don't allow mud or drilling fluids to enter these holes. Now, once the receiver's been turned on, and every time the switch is clicked, the ultrasonic sensors in the bottom of the receiver send out a signal which bounces off the ground or nearest surface and measures the height at which the receiver is held. The receiver will beep and momentarily flash this height above ground measurement in the lower display. It will then store this number in its memory and use it until it is replaced by a new ultrasonic measurement or the receiver shuts off. Now, from this position, the receiver measures the strength of the signal from the transmitter inside the drill head and calculates the total distance. It then subtracts the ultrasonic height above ground measurement and displays the depth of the drill head below the ground surface. This depth is read in the lower display and shows continuously with no measurement delay. Now, if you change the height at which you hold the receiver, remember to click again to measure the new height above ground. And a good thing to remember is that when the receiver turns off, or when you hear 3 long beeps after you click the switch, the height above ground measurement will be erased and set to 0. These 3 beeps can indicate an error from the ultrasonic sensors, or signal path being obstructed, or from interference from irregularities in the ground surface, for example, when working in tall grass or unpacked snow. These 3 beeps will also occur when the receiver is held closer than 1 foot above the ground or actually set on the ground when the switch is clicked. Now, in some cases, operators prefer to work with the receiver on the ground surface. This is okay, but remember to click the switch so the height above ground measurement will be correctly set to 0. If the height above ground is set to 0, the receiver's lower display will now show the total distance or range from the bottom of the receiver to the drill head. If the switch is not depressed for 5 minutes, the receiver will automatically shut off, but it can be reactivated by simply clicking the switch again. The DigiTrak system comes with a battery pack recharger designed to operate from either AC or the cigarette lighter in your truck. Insert a battery pack, either side up, in the charger, and press the start button. Now the green light indicates that the power is on, and the red light indicates that charging is underway. The charging time is about an hour and a half, and the battery pack may be left in the charger if necessary. Remember, it's important that you discharge the NiCad batteries with each use in the receiver. That is, until the BAT symbol in the lower display stays on. Otherwise, this will temporarily limit their capacity. If that occurs, a quick way to discharge the battery is to connect it to any 12-volt light bulb for at least 8 hours and then completely recharge it. First, turn on the receiver by clicking the switch once. It will beep to indicate that power is on. To test the equipment, take the drill head housing, which contains the transmitter, and move it around. Observe the receiver displays to be sure the functions are operating properly. Now check the calibration by holding the receiver directly above and parallel to the drill head. The drill head should be covered with a clipboard or similar large flat surface to provide a solid ground reference for the ultrasonic measurement. Then click the switch and observe the depth reading while holding the receiver at 2 different heights. The depth displayed should be the same because the ultrasonic measurement at different heights will automatically calculate the correct depth. Remember to be sure that the receiver is directly above the drill head when checking the calibration. It's a good idea to periodically check your calibration during the drilling operation and be sure the ground is flat, or provide a large flat reference surface such as a clipboard. If the depth readings are within a couple of inches of each other, the calibration is good. If the readings are different, you need to recalibrate. Normally, once a receiver is calibrated to a particular transmitter and drill head, recalibration will not be necessary. But if you have to change the transmitter, for example, you may have to recalibrate. If the receiver does need to be recalibrated, a single point calibration is simple and easy when the drill head is not yet underground. And this single point calibration is available on the new receiver and as an upgrade to other units. Now, to make a single point calibration, be sure the transmitter is on and fastened inside the drill head. Place the receiver on level ground exactly 10 feet to the side of the drill head and parallel to it. Now, a 10-foot section of drill pipe could be used for this purpose, but remember to remove it before calibrating, as the metal will adversely affect the calibration. Now, click the switch. During the beep, hold the switch in. The receiver will count down by seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0 in the lower display. When the display shows 0, release the button and the receiver will give 3 short beeps indicating the calibration is complete. Remember to keep the receiver very steady and do not move it until you hear the 3 beeps. A 2-point calibration must be used if the receiver needs to be recalibrated when the drill head is underground, or if you have an earlier version of the receiver without upgrades. The drill head must be located correctly and accurately to carry out this 2-point calibration. Make sure the transmitter is on and the drill head is relatively level, at less than 20% grade. Also, be sure the surface under the receiver is solid, flat, and level and provides a good reference for the ultrasonic measurement. Now hold the receiver directly above the drill head and parallel to it. Click the switch. During the beep, click the switch again, and during this tone, raise the receiver straight up and click the switch again. When the receiver has accepted the calibration point, The receiver will give 3 short beeps. If not accepted, you will hear 2 long beeps. The lower window will then indicate an error by displaying a squiggle line. Remember that you can recalibrate at any time, but the only time you'll need to is if the calibration check gives you 2 different readings. Also, don't try to calibrate near metal objects such as fences, cars, or sheds. And don't forget, the calibration will not change if the receiver shuts off or a battery is replaced. Well, now that the equipment has been tested and the calibration is good, let's locate the drill head. First, hold the receiver level. Squeeze the switch and hold it in to stay in the locating mode. The lower window displays the depth of the drill head in inches or centimeters if you have an overseas model. If the window displays 999, the transmitter has shut down or is out of range. The upper left window will indicate a signal strength from a count of 0 to 999, with higher numbers indicating the receiver is closer to the drill head. Earlier models use both upper windows for signal strength. You will also see a plus or minus locating guide used to pinpoint the exact location of the drill head. For example, let's assume you've completely lost the drill head and you need to locate it. And let's say the drilling direction is approximately south to north. We'll start at the drill rig and face the direction of the bore, which is north, and observe the plus or minus in the receiver upper left display. The receiver should show a plus as you get within range of the transmitter. Walk north in the direction of the boring. As you get closer to the drill head, the sign should change from plus to minus at some point behind the drill head. At this point, turn to the right, facing east, and observe the sign in the display. If it is plus, walk forward. If it's minus, turn around facing west, and the sign should now show plus. Now walk forward until the sign changes again to minus. At this point, turn facing north and observe the sign again. If it's plus, walk forward. If it's minus, turn around facing south, and the sign should now show a plus. Then walk forward again until the sign changes to a minus. Continue this process of finding the point where the sign changes to minus along a north-south direction and where it changes to minus along an east-west direction until you're at a point where you don't need to move the receiver more than a few inches in any direction to find where the sign changes. We call this point the rear negative locate point. Rear in the sense that it is behind the drill head, and negative in the sense that the drill head is not located directly below that point. Note that exactly at this point, no matter which direction you face, a plus sign indicates that you should move the receiver forward to the point, and a minus sign indicates that you have passed it and should either back up the receiver to the point or turn around. And be sure to hold the receiver level and balanced during this procedure. Mark the rear negative locate point at the spot on the ground directly below the receiver. From this rear negative locate point, walk north along the route of the bore. The same display should change from a minus to a plus. Continue walking north, however, until the sign changes from a plus back to a minus. Follow the same procedure as previously described to find the front negative locate point in the same fashion. It is front in the sense that it is ahead of the drill head. Once you find the front negative locate point, mark the spot on the ground. Now walk forward along the straight line between the 2 marks on the ground indicating the front and rear negative locate points, and observe where the sign changes from a minus to a plus. The point where it changes to plus marks the spot over the drill head, and this is called the positive locate point. It is positive in the sense that the sign changes to plus and in the sense that the drill head is positively directly below this spot. Mark the positive locate point on the ground. And note that like any locating procedure, this spot will be slightly behind the drill head and toward the drill rig if the drill head pitch is positive, drilling up, and slightly ahead of the drill head if the pitch is negative, drilling down. The line connecting the 2 negative locate points, front and rear, provide the direction and the lateral position of the drill head. Once the drill head has been located, a fast procedure for continuing to locate the drill head while drilling is underway is to quickly find the front negative locate point ahead of the drill head and then walk along a straight line toward the last positive locate point marked on the ground. As you pass directly over the current position of the drill head, the sign will change from a minus to a plus. Mark the new position and continue drilling forward. Using this procedure, you can locate the drill head without stopping the drilling operations, which is obviously important in terms of keeping drilling production up. Note that as the drill head becomes deeper, the negative locate points become respectively further behind and further ahead of the positive locate point directly above the drill head. The distance between the two negative locate points is about 1.5 times the depth. Note also that the switch must be held in during locating to show the signal strength and the plus-minus locating guides. As you move closer to the drill head, observe that the upper left display showing the signal strength will increase, and correspondingly the lower display showing the range to the drill head will decrease. The signal strength will also increase as the receiver is aligned parallel to the drill head direction. Once the drill head has been located precisely below the receiver, click the switch once at arm's length to measure and reset the receiver height above ground. It will then display the correct depth of the transmitter below the ground surface. Well, how are you doing so far? You'll understand why correctly and accurately locating the drill head is so important when we start tracking. You ready? All right, here we go. Simply release the switch and you're in the tracking mode. The receiver is always in the tracking mode with the switch released. Well, that was easy, wasn't it? Tracking allows you to monitor and control the progress of the drill head underground. Before we start, let's first observe the receiver displays. The lower display always shows the depth of the drill head in the locating or the tracking mode. The upper left display shows the pitch in increments of 1% grade, and the pitch is measurable from minus 100% to plus 100% at any roll orientation. And percent grade is approximately the number of inches the drill head will rise or drop for every 10 feet of drill rod pushed in, and 100% is equal to 45 degrees, so 1% is roughly 1/2 of a degree. Now the upper right display shows the roll in 12 clock positions from 1 to 12, where 3 o'clock indicates the drill head is oriented to turn to the right. 6 o'clock is downward, 9 o'clock would be to the left, and 12 o'clock upward. The transmitter constantly measures its own pitch and roll orientation and battery condition. And on the new transmitters, it also measures the temperature. It sends this information as a coded message, which is picked up by the receiver and displayed as pitch and roll and BAT in the upper display windows on the receiver. The pitch and roll data do not depend on the orientation of the receiver, and the receiver does not need to be directly above the drill head to pick up pitch and roll. Also, the receiver calibration does not affect pitch and roll data. An overheated condition is displayed as a flashing squiggle in the lower display window. And a squiggle blinks in the receiver upper left display, indicating pitch and roll data is being picked up. If the receiver does not pick up pitch and roll information, the upper displays will blank after 30 seconds. Tracking can be done on the fly, and depth can be measured while drilling as long as the receiver is kept directly over the transmitter. But if the drill head is rotating, pitch and roll will not be updated. Well, that's it. Everything you need to know about monitoring your drilling operation: the equipment, testing and calibration, locating, and tracking. Now here are some reminders. Remember, the depth displayed will be accurate only if, number 1, the drill head is located accurately and directly below the receiver. That is, if the receiver is not directly above the drill head, the lower display window will show the slant range rather than the depth. Number 2, the calibration has been checked and is correct. And it's important to check the calibration periodically while drilling to be certain that it's okay and the depth readings are correct. And number 3, the receiver height above ground has been set correctly. If you change the height at which the receiver is held above the ground surface, the switch must be clicked to measure the new height above ground. Now let's go through a few operational procedures. First, check the batteries. Remember, if you see a continuous BAT indication in the lower display window, your receiver battery needs to be replaced. If it appears in the upper display, the transmitter battery is weak. Check your calibration periodically while drilling. Check to see if the transmitter is on, and rotate drill head if necessary. One note, if the depth window ever displays 999, it means the transmitter is shut off or the receiver is simply out of range. If it has been shut off, you can reactivate the transmitter by rotating it one turn. Another point to remember, if you're working in sand, gravel, or rock, be sure to use sufficient drilling fluid or you may heat up the drill head. And if this occurs, the depth reading will be changed dramatically and the transmitter could be damaged. The operating temperature range of the transmitter is between 0 to 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Inside the front end cap of the transmitter, there's a temperature-sensitive white dot which fades if the transmitter is damaged due to overheating. On the latest versions of the DigiTrak receiver and transmitter, the squiggle will flash in the lower display if the transmitter temperature is too high. And now our do not list. Do not subject the receiver to physical abuse. Do not place it in water or mud. Do not use a transmitter or receiver until they've had time to reach the outside air temperature. Do not pressure wash, steam clean, or wash with solvents or cleaning fluids. Well, there it is, all the operational information you'll need for calibrating, locating, and tracking with the DigiTrak system. DigiTrak, made in the USA and considered the fastest drill monitoring system in the world. Remember, send in your warranty registration card as soon as possible so we can advise you of upgrades. And if you have any questions, please review the portion of this videotape that addresses your concern or call the customer service hotline at 1-800-288-3610. Happy drilling.